I can settle down and be doing just fine till I hear an old freight rolling down.
Thank you, Scott.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's nice to catch up with an old face from the real estate industry. And should I use the phrase that I used before? But
land rats?
We used to be a couple of land rats.
Yeah. And we were in Rotary together.
Correct.
Yeah, so I sort of know you probably more through Rotary than real estate.
Yep.
But you were real estate up in Lara?
Yeah, based in Lara, and we covered the northern suburbs, the Geelong, Lara, Little River, Anakie, as far as Bannockburn and Meredith, because in those days when we first started, Geelong agents didn't particularly want to go out to the rural townships, so we kind of had a bit of a niche market there.
Okay.
But then, over time, the industry got more competitive, and as, say, Geelong Central got more competitive, I thought, well, maybe we will go to Lara, or maybe we will go to Meredith. Yeah.
And Lara grew as a town too, so Moran agents would have seen opportunity there and moved into town. Absolutely.
Mum and Dad had the first office there. Wow. They were, you might know the name Ben Law Real Estate.
Yep.
The Fabrettos, not the Fabrettos. Fabrettos.
Oh, yeah.
And Ben Fabretto, Trevor Holmes, Geelong.
Okay.
Yeah, so his dad saw an opportunity in Lara, and there was a vacant corner shop that used to be Mum and Dad's milk bar.
Yep.
So a high-profile location.
Yep.
Dad and Mum got the knock on the door about someone leasing that shop. It was an agent from Werribee. And long story short, they sold up their other supermarket and milk bar and became Lara's first estate agents.
Wow.
So they had a pretty good run, having the monopoly market for a while.
Yep.
Then over the years, that monopoly reduced duopoly, and now there's more than you can throw a stick at.
Yeah, right. So you're second generation real estate then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were born into the game.
Yeah, and it's funny you say born into, because I think there's a little bit of an expectation. Number one son.
Yeah.
There's a succession plan.
Yeah.
And he just ran with it. Thought, that's expected. Yeah, okay, I'll just go with that. But probably in hindsight, looking over my life's journey, in some ways I wish I hadn't have done that, because I did uni at RMIT, and when I graduated, I got involved in a graduate exchange program where we swapped jobs in different countries.
Yep.
So I got, it's like computer dating. I got matched to Deloitte Haskins and Sells in Edinburgh in Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's always expected I'd come back to the business, but I was kind of putting it off as long as I could.
Yeah.
So I actually went to the UK in Edinburgh with a one-way ticket. I wasn't in a hurry to come back.
Bad luck. Tough city to Edinburgh to live in, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, right.
Rose Street and the pubs.
Loved it. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful city.
And in some ways it felt a bit like Geelong. We've got our harbour and they've got their port and that.
Yep.
And a lot more history there. More castles in Edinburgh than there is in Geelong.
But a nice small town feel still for a big city.
Yeah, that's probably what I was trying to say.
Lovely feel too.
And I had a rough plan of fulfilling my contract there in Edinburgh. And then freelance, say, out of London for a while. But life got in the way, and a girl I was dating before I left RMIT to go overseas, she started writing me letters and saying she's going to come and visit me.
Okay.
I thought, well, that's a bit from left field, because this is mid-1980s.
Yeah, not easy to get over there.
Yeah. And phone calls and that in those days cost you a bomb.
Yeah.
So she lands in the UK, and it kind of changed how I thought things might pan out. And there was this, and this is looking back with hindsight, after divorce and all that kind of stuff, there was a sense of expectation about come back to the family business and, this girl turned up, so I better go back and do the right thing by her.
Yeah.
So, she became wife number one, and 23 years later, she's the next. And, that's a vague background there.
Yeah, okay.
Just on the RMIT, what did you study at RMIT?
Accounting.
Yeah, you did accounting.
Yeah, I started off at Deakin as business.
Yes.
Or the other way around, accounting at Deakin.
Yeah.
But in those days, I was living in Lara, working at Newport Power Station as a junior clerk. That's my first job.
Yes.
And then studying at Deakin 2 nights a week at Warren Ponds.
Yeah, okay.
So it became a bit much.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I transferred from Deakin to RMIT.
Right. Yeah.
Moved from Lara to North Melbourne,
Yes.
had a share house there,
Yes.
and it just gave me so many extra hours in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, not travelling up and down Geelong, Warren Ponds, everything was in the block. So great lifestyle back then.
It's interesting, Tony. I think that your journey. I'm interested in your comments on reflection, how you feel about that, because you were up and away and into a whole world of possibilities and opportunities with you got your degree, you're travelling around the world, and isn't it interesting how you end up back in the family business in bloody Lara?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can understand you going, well, it just happens.
Yeah.
It's serendipitous. We all just go along, however. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because you were almost off on a completely other tangent into a whole other realm.
It's a sliding door kind of thing almost.
And next thing you're back home in your folks' business. Interesting.
So it was a little bit of a culture shock because your eyes got opened.
Yes.
Life outside of Lara.
Oh,
Especially Lara in the 80s.
And
To Edinburgh. Yeah.
So, but you didn't kind of question it at the time.
No.
At the time, employment, family business, tick, relationship, this girl, she's good. She'd come and see me in Europe, and we got back to. I kind of said, I think we could probably do something, but can we just wait till we get back home and just see how we.
Yeah.
In the real world, not travelling around Europe and how we were feeling there.
Yeah, interesting.
So and in some ways, what I'd missed out then, I probably revisited a bit in my 50s.
Yes.
So I got divorced around about 50.
Yeah.
I'd sold my real estate business, and it's freed me up to be able to do a lot of stuff that maybe I didn't do back then. Like volunteer tourism. I've got an interest in military history, so I've been to Kokoda. I haven't quite got around the track, but I've done both ends of it.
Yeah, so have I.
That a bit later.
I've done the gate. What's it called? The gate. The first one at the Moresby end. The gate. Something gate. I think I can't remember what it's called. The entrance to it anyway.
Near the Bamana War Cemetery.
Yeah, I've been to the Bamana War Cemetery, and then you go a bit further and you go to the end of, or the start of the track. Where I haven't walked it. Just been. I looked at it from there. I thought I'm not going up there. It's incredible country.
Well, there's two reasons why. I've done some volunteer tourism up in the northwest coast of New Guinea, and I think the Kokoda track's a little bit overdone. Everyone goes there.
Yeah.
Whereas there's other places in New Guinea, like Aitape in the Sandown province, up near the border of Erie and Jaya, where 1,000 Aussies were killed up there. There's only 300 Aussies lost in the Kokoda track.
Yeah.
And even when you get to Kokoda, and then there's where the Japanese landed Buna and Gona, 1,000 or so there.
Yeah.
So, in terms of number of Australians killed, there's been more significant contributions to the war effort. So it's kind of a bit like my philosophy in life. I'd rather support the little guy than the well-funded, well-established big guy.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting what takes our imagination? So it's that track, the trail,
the story, isn't
the
it?
journey, the whole thing. And yet, as you're saying, around it there's much more interesting and more devastating stories to be told, not on the track itself, but on other parts of
we talk about this, don't we, with history, but also journalism and news. It's not... historians say we're only presenting the facts. Journalists say we're only presenting the facts, but it's which facts you choose to present.
Correct.
That ends up telling the story of history or telling the story of the news.
Yes.
So it can be very much influenced on what parts you want to promote.
And so having a bit of an interest in military history now. Not too many direct relatives I know fought in the wars, but my granddad had some brothers who fought in New Guinea. I've been to Gallipoli. I've done the Western Front of France, and actually did a battlefield tour with a guy called Lambus Angelos, who's a fellow that found all the lost diggers from Els. I don't know if you know that story.
Yes, I do.
So to travel around with him, they love him over there because he keeps promoting that relationship between Australia and France. It just goes back to that World War One.
Did you get to Villers-Bretonneux? The Robinvale sister city? So I've been there with contacts through the sister city relationship with Robinvale, northwest of Victoria, through the pharmacists there. And we were treated like... It was embarrassing. We were treated like war heroes ourselves. It was so embarrassing. They were so thankful to us being Australians for free, you know, for what our boys did there at that time. It was unbelievable stories. Diana, my wife and I felt quite embarrassed. All the glory being poured on us by these French people. Well, incredible how they revere Australians. You've been to that town, you know what I'm talking
100%. And like because we were there with Lambus, we might be in a little old village on a Sunday, everything's shut down, but because they knew he was bringing a few of his friends, the town hall's open, and you know, there's dinner laid out. Great.
Oh, they love their food and wine, don't they? They look after you in France, regional France. Beautiful,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we're not really here to talk war history, although it's very interesting. We could go on with that, or real estate careers. We're kind of here. We want to talk to you about your work in mental health and awareness of mental health and your charity work. Can I and whatever you're not comfortable with, please tell us. But
not much. I'm pretty open.
I figured that. So can we start the catalyst for why you spent the last 30 years? Would it be 25 years?
I'll take 20.
20.
20 years.
I'm overblowing it. But working in the mental health space and awareness of mental health.
Sure. It gets back to the loss of my brother in 2005. And apart from losing Mick in 2005, our family, we also lost my old man in 2003. So, reflecting on Mum, she lost her husband. 2 years later, she lost one of her boys. So, pretty tough. And the dynamics for us at the time was that Mick and I were in the family real estate business.
Oh, he was in the business as well.
Yeah, I was the principal.
So it's a business relationship as well.
So as the principal, and he was my main sales guy. So, I lost a significant part of the business as well as a brother. And but at the same time, I didn't share much at the time, but I'm a bit more open about it now. I was going through the same shit. Significant mental health problems and survived a suicide attempt. So I kind of kept that a bit to me and only a few close mates because I didn't want to freak out my family that I lost one.
On top of it,
and then there's another one. So
so your brother took his own life, just to clarify that. I mean, people probably assume that. I mean, we talk about this. We talked about this with Mary O'Brien last week. Nobody sees it coming, right? Is that how you sort of recall it?
With Mick, he had a previous attempt.
Okay.
So there had been a little bit of a history, but you don't see it coming because if you knew it's coming, you'd be trying to help stop and do whatever you can. But it was a Sunday morning. And he and I were rostered on to work that day. And, so Sunday morning I'm getting the open for inspection files and the pointer boards and loading up the car. And I took two things happened. An ambulance went flying by. And my reaction was, some poor bugger's had a heart attack. Then not long after that, my younger brother rang and said, Mick had taken his life. And so it's a bit... a shock would be an understatement, and I kind of went into automatic pilot and just thought, well, I still got opens to do, so I better do that. People expect me out there, and what he was going to do. So thank God the staff stepped in, said, we'll look after them. You go do what you have to do for your family. So he, roll on to his funeral. And it's at his funeral that his wife, Jenny, suggested we should support organisations like BeyondBlue. So, there's a bit of focus. And I'd been going through, a lot of what could I have done, what should I have done, what did I miss. I was the boss, he was the employee, all that kind of stuff. So I was in a bit of struggling with, grief and guilt, and was there something I missed? So I was lucky at the same time though I was in the hands of a psychologist myself
dealing with the same kind of issues.
So I was able to put that on the agenda at the next meeting. And
you already had that support in place for yourself.
It
wasn't that timely.
It's happening.
That wasn't that timely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I was able to say what had happened. And he goes, and I was expressing my feelings, and he goes, well, don't hold yourself accountable in any way, shape or form. So, wow, to get professional advice, to go, take that on board, took a huge weight off my shoulders. But it also helped me go from the viewpoint I couldn't do anything about what he'd done, but I could do something positive in his memory.
Mm.
So taking Jenny's hint, support Beyond Blue, it's okay, I'll check them out. They're all about increasing awareness, reducing stigma. So I came up with the idea of getting an AFL Beyond Blue Cup.
Yep.
I had a good relationship with Frank Costa,
Okay.
so I ran it by him and said, what do you think, Frank, if we do this? And he was all over it. And then we had to say, well, I knew who I wanted to pick on, but who are we going to pick on? He goes, I said, I think we'd better pick on Hawthorn, because Jeff Kennett's the chair of Beyond Blue,
Yes.
chair of Hawthorn.
Yes.
And
So
one of
it's
the
no
great
brainer.
rivalries in football of all time.
Yeah, Geelong.
Easter Monday. That's timing, coming up soon.
Yeah.
So Frank got me in front of Jeff. He came to the meeting too, although it's funny, Frank was running late for the meeting, so I turned up at the appointed time and knocked on the office and went and said, I'm here for a meeting with Jeff and Frank. And Kennett comes out and goes, who are you? Where's Costa? I'm a busy man. It's kind of like a baptism of fire.
Typical Jeff Kennett.
I think they used to say you get jeffed. So he kind of gave it to me because he didn't know why I was there. He didn't know the agenda of the meeting.
Oh, okay.
So I had to.
He genuinely
just
didn't
came to see
know.
Frank Costa.
Yeah.
When Frank Costa
Frank
calls,
rings, he just I'll go and talk to Frank.
exactly.
So he had no idea what it was about.
So once I kind of set the scene and explained why I was there, he settled down a bit. And then Frank got there. And it's an amazing meeting to sit in the meeting with these two guys, either side of the table, and for them to see the merit in the idea. So it really helped the grieving process with the loss of Mick, knowing that we were getting something like that up that was going to raise the profile.
Something concrete, practical.
Reduce the stigma. So and awareness is so important. So it was off the back of that
So was Jeff Kennett ambassador for Beyond Blue then as well?
He's the president. Chairman of Beyond Blue
and Hawthorn.
Yeah. So
well, Jeffrey sort of set it up, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the founding chairman.
He was the founding chairman of Beyond Blue. It was his baby. And that would be an interesting story to know. I worked for Kennett for many. When I was a public servant, he was the premier. So I worked for his government. He's a very interesting fellow, a very practical and doing type person. And then when he left politics, very soon after, he picked up on this issue. And I wondered what the motivation was for Jeffrey to do that. I don't know.
A few different things. One of the stories I heard was that one of his kids was exposed to a friend suiciding.
Yes, okay.
And that might have been the spark.
Could have been, yeah. He would have seen in his role, he would have met and seen a lot of people and a lot of families. So it would have, it crosses all of our paths, doesn't it? So probably a personal experience himself, and he's gone. He's the sort of guy who will go, well, bugger this, I'm going to have a crack. Something's going to happen here. He would, and that's what he's done. So good on him.
So it kind of led me to becoming one of their ambassadors, and been up and down the countryside speaking on their behalf.
So what does that involve? Like going to events, functions? What's it involve being an ambassador?
Public speaking mainly. Just whether it's celebrating Mental Health Month or whatever the occasion, they engage. Whoever wants to speak engages with Beyond Blue, and then Beyond Blue puts it out to their ambassadors, and they try and match. Sometimes people ask me personally. One trip that I really enjoyed was I got asked to speak at a place called up near Connemara, El Questro.
Oh, yeah.
North.
What happened northwest West Australia on the coast there?
Now this is
station.
Yeah, this is about 2019, and the deal was I think an airline, might have been Qantas, Virgin, one of them, was going to start doing flights direct from Melbourne to Connemara. So instead of getting to El Questro via Darwin or Perth, Broome, all this, it's going to be direct flights.
Right.
So and they were going to have package deals where Beyond Blue would receive a percentage from each package deal.
Yeah.
Right.
So they said, "Oh, we want that Tony McManus guy, to be, an ambassador from Beyond Blue who comes and visits and spruiks about it and so on." So, to cut a long story short, that was maybe, we're up there in November or whenever it was, I think it was the following February, COVID hit.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole deal fell apart.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's a wonderful experience, but unfortunately, it's just one little ripple effect from COVID where something was going to be really positive for that organisation. Yeah. You probably tend to do the more blokey kind of things. I've evolved now with a real focus on the construction industry. I kind of work backwards from the male suicide rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 80% of people take their own life are male.
Men, yeah.
And they say it's 9. I think they try and keep the public number down, but it's probably as high as 10 per day, of which 8 are male take their own life. I thought, who are the biggest problem areas or the groups that might be most susceptible to it? So I've narrowed it down to veterans, PTSD, folk in the rural sector, and like your recent chat with Mary O'Brien, she nailed it. She's onto that sector.
She's onto that sector.
Farmers.
And then you've got the construction industry. So, because you can't do everything. And I suppose my niche where I talk about mental health stuff is tackling the issues of isolation, loneliness, disconnection, just different ways of saying the same thing. As a problem with the solution of social connection through volunteering and mentoring. So that's kind of when I do public speaking, I kind of get down to that side of things. Here's a problem, here's where I see the solution. And I love it. Give a few examples of what I've done, and you can't be a jack of all trades and master of none. So I'm trying to have it. That's the niche that I focus on.
Is there an age profile through there as well, Tony, or not? That's a bigger, any particular age group in those subsets?
There's issues across all age groups, basically. I think 14 to 44 is a very high risk area, but you're probably starting to split hairs. It's really across the board.
Pretty widely spread.
Yeah, because there's different things at different ages that impact on people and maybe cause the triggers.
Yeah, I'm aware of some suicides that have occurred, quite late in life for men, rural men, almost at retirement, right on retirement. And at 65 to take your own life is so. I mean, it's a terrible thing at any time, but at that point of your life, you should, most of the tough work should be behind you, and you should be.
Got through most of
you should, that's so sad, to the older age groups.
I mean, that could also be, you're getting towards that retirement age, and so many men, their identity is tied up in their work, right? So you're facing retirement and you're facing that loss of identity. Would you say that, Tony?
There's multiple factors, but the biggest risk areas are from about 35 to probably 45. And I just showed Brian a little bit of a chart that shows how
age
old
versus
you are.
Happiness index.
And it's like a smiley face. So that's the areas where what's going on in those ages, and people may be stressing the marriage, the kids. There's just all life getting in the way. That's where the pressure is. But you were saying, 65. They should be over it. Kids off their hands and getting into enjoying retirement.
So can we just describe the chart? So we've got a yellow line, which is the level of happiness, I suppose, and you're going from age 15, which is very high, and then you're gradually going further down to 45, or pretty much 45 to 47, where it bottoms out, and it starts picking up again up till you're around 80, and then it just tails off a bit towards 85.
So it's like a smiley face. So the bottom of the smile is the biggest risk area. But either end of it is where life is not bad. In the early years, you're young, you're teenage, not too much to worry about. And that's why the example you gave, Brian, about taking their own life at 65, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't work.
I mean, you should, like you said, you should be sort of settling a little bit on easy street, looking forward to a bit of
responsibilities out of the way.
I do think that we work. We're told that we work so hard to build retirement, build a nest egg, and then you lose a bit of sense of identity. I mean, you retired how many years ago? Not that long ago.
No, I've certainly fully retired about 3 years ago.
But you've got a lot of interests. You keep yourself busy. You travel a lot. You're into cooking. And so you've got a lot of interests that keep you. You don't stop much.
And I wound down. From full time work over about 10 to 12 years, part time consulting, and then chairing a board. So, and then, and I've got, I hunt and I've got golf and kayak and
so
bike.
You can imagine
and stuff. So
if you don't have active. Those interests,
yes.
What do you do? Sit around and do the crossword? I mean,
certainly.
I've been to crosswords, but I think there's that danger that you lose all sense of who you are when who you are has been your career for the last 40, 50 years.
Work is such a big part of our lives, isn't it? But through our midlife especially, if you've got responsibilities, professional responsibilities with your own business or a senior role, staff to look after, money to manage, a partner, children to raise, get through school, all of that sort of stuff. That period, that's really solid going. That period's really, really tough. Yeah. And then, so work becomes the sort of like the engine room of all that. It's good work that you can engage in, that you like, that you feel adequately rewarded for, that keeps that going. Now, when that finishes, there's a lot can go out the window.
That's where I suggest that social connection solution.
Really
maybe
important.
A bit of volunteering. I talk about bucket lists. So develop a bucket list and start ticking things off it. Because how often do you hear about people retiring, stop working, and they're not around much longer?
I know.
Whereas, because they're switching off. And,
if they don't take their own lives, they get crook. Something,
I read a really interesting book. We might have spoken about this before, Scott, I'm not sure. A Japanese book about the secrets of long life. And there are points on the globe where people, their average life is, they live to 110 or something. There's a little place in Japan, somewhere in the Mediterranean, different spots, where these small communities, people have got these unusually long lives. And, activity, social cohesion is probably being a member of a club or whatever, doing something every day, getting up and doing stuff. The Japanese are very good at this. They're very regimented, I guess, in a way, so they get up and they do their little morning exercise, they drink their green tea, whatever they eat. They grow their own vegetables, share them in their neighbourhood, and they're all engaged in social activities. And that social community activity is the thing. I think
that's what you're talking about.
That's exactly what you're talking about.
And that's where I didn't join Rotary, where Scotty and I met, until I was 50. Just divorced. I'd sold my business. So out of work, out of love, and you might remember Kathy Roth. She tapped me on the shoulder. She was a wonderful mentor type for me. She said, about time you joined Rotary. So, okay, dragged along, reluctant. But it gave me a bit of purpose, a sense of structure. It opened me up to the volunteering opportunities, not so much local, overseas, New Guinea or outback Northern Territory.
Yes.
And it was a wonderful part of helping to transition through, the chaos after divorce. And it was a bit early for me to really retire. And I didn't plan to sell my business and then give away 50% of my equity. So, so it's a big reassessment of what to do. And volunteering really helped me, because I developed this phrase, the best exercise that you can do is to help someone else who's down to get up again. So I'm not talking throw the weights around, I'm talking exercise that brain thing. And it comes back to you in spades. You help someone who's struggling, and you're helping them tick. But the way you feel about yourself,
helping yourself as well at the same time.
So one really good example is there's a young fellow in Geelong called Elijah. I was involved in a program called the Leaders for Geelong through the Committee for Geelong. And while we were doing that program, I saw in the Geelong Addy a story about Elijah, and the Addy published a story that him as a young kid, primary school, he was suicidal. And he put out there, I'm sick of being bullied at school, and, I'm over it. So I thought, geez, that's a very gutsy thing for a kid to, put it out there in the local newspaper how he's feeling. So I thought, we'd better get him into one of our meetings, and we just created a certificate. We made him an honorary future leader for Geelong because of the gutsy stand he took up against bullying. And this is 2007 or 8 or something like that.
How old? He was a secondary year student?
I think late primary.
Oh, late primary?
Yeah.
Shit.
I
really?
Just lost track of exactly.
So young boy.
And we had Billy Brown's come in, and he presented him with a certificate. So if you research him, I won't maybe give you his full name now, but all the press about him at the time was this sad-looking kid. But then there's a happy photo of all these adults in the room are patting him on the back for what he did.
Yeah.
And I've just kept in touch with him over the years. I'm not sure the exact timing, but maybe 5 years ago, still keeping in touch every now and then, he lost his own dad to suicide.
Wow.
Shit.
So because I crossed paths with him, I've just kept in touch. And I've got this little template that I share when I'm engaging on work sites or anyone where I do a public presentation, look about work-life balance. So it shows the importance of you've got to look after yourself, your relationships, what you do with your money, what you do with your health, both mental and physical, what you do at work or school, what you do in your leisure time. I gave him a copy of this and said, any time you want to talk about any of these issues, just we'll have a coffee. And over the years, he's gone from probably half ticks, half crosses. He's now firing on all cylinders. It's all ticks. He recently got married, and we had the privilege of going to his wedding, and they're about to have their first baby. So it's a son I never had, because I had two daughters. Then when I got remarried, not only did I gain a wonderful wife, also gained 2 extra daughters.
Oh, 2 more daughters as well.
You see how grey my hair is.
But wrong choice. See, now I can throw some light on this, because I had 3 sons, and I was divorced, and I repartnered, and my gorgeous new partner had a son and a daughter. So I got one. I got a girl in my second time around. Well, you got girls both times.
Yeah, and we've got grandkids starting to flow through. So Kath, my lovely wife, has got both of us have a 4-year-old grandson, a 2-year-old granddaughter, and my number one has got an 8-month-old little girl, and my number 2's got one due in about a month.
Oh, fantastic!
So that's a wonderful part of life now, seeing the grandkids come through.
It comes on so quickly. I remember it happening to our friends before it happened to us. We've now got 9 grandchildren, Di and I, and one minute we were our friendship group, where we lived, were the kids were getting engaged and married, and next thing, all our friendship group are becoming grandparents, and it just flipped from, within no time to go from you being a parent to being a grandparent, and then all of a sudden you've got 4, like 4 within 3 or 4 years.
Well, 3.8.
3.8, and they're great.
We've got another diagram, so I know Tony's got a mission here to get next to, but I just want to touch on the Rotary experience.
Sure.
While we're talking about volunteering and what it meant to me. So I joined Rotary because Joanne Clark, who was I was involved with another networking group, and she was offering some coaching, business coaching to me at the time. So she suggested I join Rotary because I was looking for something. I wanted to give back to the community, and it was important to me. I have a great passion for helping people get into property. I think being able to own a home is really important. I know how tough it is now, but I understand from my own personal upbringing how important a safe and secure home is for an upbringing. So what Rotary offered me was an avenue to explore that interest and passion. And as I don't know if you recall, but I got involved with Habitat for Humanity. Now, Habitat for Humanity build homes for people who couldn't otherwise get into their own home, and usually, like you said, people who are a bit down and out and just need a hand up. And their motto is a hand up, not a hand out. So through what Rotary offered me the opportunity to do was to get a bunch of like-minded people who are into volunteering, who are into giving back to the community, and get them to help me kind of launch Habitat Humanity in Geelong. And we ended up we went through quite a rigorous process finding a family that we were going to work with, and you've got to find a family or a person that wants to get a better life for themselves, right? Because it's not just a handout.
Is that up at Hamlin Heights or something?
So we ended up we found a single dad with a daughter. She was around 12 years old. And he'd gone through the ringer. He had a plumbing business. He got involved I don't know if you remember the insulation scheme that went haywire, and went really, and he got involved in that. He had a business that went boom because he got onto that. And then, for whatever reason, after that, it went bust. He hurt his back. He couldn't work. He lost his business. His wife left him, and he was left with like this almost teenage daughter, trying to raise her. So, we gave him the opportunity to build a house. We all kind of got into it together. We built this house for him in Hamlin Heights and so Habitat Humanity lend money to these people at interest free, and the payments are capped at a percentage of your income. So if your income drops or whatever, your repayments drop, so it's manageable. No. So for me, Rotary was a great way, and I'm very proud of having done that.
Yep.
I ended up leaving Rotary because my career changed dramatically, and I didn't have the time, but it's definitely something that's always there that I want to be able to do projects like that once again one day,
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame with Rotary how it's an ageing demographic, and I used to look at the members in our club and ask the question, why aren't their kids getting involved? Yeah. It's like the next generation not interested.
Well, I was by far the youngest, and I would have been in my 40s, early 40s perhaps then. Yeah. There were some kids kind of coming in, but I think there was a separate Rotary for younger people.
There's Rotarac, I think.
Rotarac,
And young people tend to come and go a bit. Yeah. A really sad thing I heard in the last week or two is that there's been amalgamations across Geelong.
Okay.
And but
of clubs.
And my old township of Lara, it's had a club for 12 years, but it's just wound down, shut down.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, for a population that size.
Growing population too.
Well, the footy club couldn't fill a team either.
I was I don't know if it couldn't fill the team. There's some issue there. And
which I was surprised about for a growing, like you said, a growing team.
So the Lara Township, flags a concern that if they can't get a footy team up and running, and I've heard a lot of the young guys, even though under 18s, whatever, still there, they've been poached. So it feels a bit terminal. So loss of Rotary, loss of football club. As Mary would have said, the footy clubs are a social hub. So you're losing these. It's just a worry, to be honest. Particularly since it's my old township. But
and it's unusual, and it's a town where there's such strong growth around it. And we're not talking like a small town that's withering on the vine out in the Wimmera or Mallee.
I sell house and land packages out there. I know how busy it is. It's growing. So why aren't those people getting involved in the local community? There's something about the demographic that's moving in there, perhaps, that just doesn't get involved in those kinds of things.
They all working in Melbourne, living there and working in Melbourne away. They haven't got time, and they're like a pyjama suburb or whatever they call them, dormitory suburb or something.
It is one of those outlying suburbs because it is close to Geelong, close to Melbourne. It's a great for a commuter town, and that could be a big part of it.
You're spending 2 hours to get to work and 2 hours to get home. It cuts it, and you're busy with young children, it does cut a big hole in your time.
Absolutely. If you're a fan of what we're doing here on Rambling and you've been enjoying listening to these conversations, then please consider jumping onto our Patreon page and supporting the podcast for as little as $5 a month. For $5 a month, you'll get early access to our episodes. You will get ad-free content, and you'll also get exclusive content that we put up only on our Patreon page for our subscribers. So jump on patreon.com/rambling_podcast, and again, for as little as a cup of coffee a month, you can help keep these conversations going. So what do we got here? We've got a mental health and wellbeing gauge, Tony.
So I worked in Geelong until recently at a community foundation on Monday to Wednesday. Thursday is my passion project, doing mental health support on construction sites. So I use that little template that you can see. It's like a rain gauge about whoever I'm talking to. I just get them to nominate where they think they are on this kind of mental health gauge. Green, you're good. Orange, midlife crisis or situational disturbances. Red, mental health problems, illness, not good. So, generally they'll point to somewhere between the orange and the green, but it just starts a conversation, and then I flip over and open up that template.
The template.
And then they nominate what they want to talk about.
Do you think blokes on a construction site are going to be honest with you as far as, if they're saying they're a little bit in the green, do you think they're probably more in the orange?
Well, funny you say that, because it's not just them, it's their relationships too. one guy recently said, "Yeah, I'm okay, but my wife, she's got this, that going on," and it was causing him a lot of grief. And then he opened up. He went back to him and spoke about childhood trauma that he'd had. So,
and he's opening up to you on a construction site.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think I've just developed that empathy, and I might have shared my own personal story first, and it's kind of non-threatening because I'm the independent mental health mentor. I'm not part of the line of command. They don't have to be embarrassed about saying something in front of their boss. It's getting more and more open in terms of reduced stigma. And it's just a safe way of starting the conversation going. And generally, I'll just point them in the right direction. Although, recently, I had one bloke, his finger pointed directly at the red bit, suggesting he's got mental illness. So, well, what's going on, mate? And he goes, 6 months ago, my daughter murdered my ex-wife.
Oh, Jesus.
Then, cops turned up and shot the daughter.
Oh.
So he'd had this incident where he lost his ex and his daughter in one foul swoop. And it happened up at Ferntree Gully a few years ago. And the daughter was on ice or something, so, that was obviously the triggering thing. And, so I was a bit gobsmacked, but I said, well, what are you doing about it, mate? And he goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, have you spoken to your doctor about it? No. Have you considered counselling? Not really. I thought, wow. So just a random encounter on a construction site, just saying, here am I, this is what we're talking about. It opened up.
And he's quite openly saying he's in the red zone. And
understandably in the red zone. And he would have been. He was very
every day.
So I do monthly site visits, and the following month, having identified someone with that issue, I made sure I found him next time around. And he'd been to his doctor, started antidepressants, so not long into it. So, but he thought that was the right thing to do. He'd been booked in for counselling, and he's also setting up with his new partner a trip overseas just to get away from all that. But so that's kind of where I see my role. Whoever I'm with, I'll just have a chat. What's going on? This is where I think you need to go, and you just listen. So, other times that's a drastic example, but everyone's got stuff going on, and I think it's basically when you're in the orange bit. That's where I say you've got to talk about it. Get stuff off your chest.
So, Tony, how do you get onto these work sites through the employers obviously going, yes, you can do it, and then when
Good
do you
question,
do it? So what time of the day, and how does that work then?
Well, the first gig I had it was actually a casual contract that ran for 4 years. It was a major construction major aged care service provider, Ryman Healthcare.
Yeah, right.
They build retirement villages and aged care facilities.
Yep.
One of the directors referred me to the Victorian State construction manager.
Yeah.
And my initial gig was to just do toolbox talks on each of their 8 construction sites.
Yep.
And I thought, I've done that, see you later. But then I got a call to say, well, the guys enjoyed what you had to say and how you said it. Can you come back once a month on each site?
Yeah.
I loved it. So I got a really good foot in the door then.
Yeah.
But that was almost just my side hustle, working Monday to Wednesday in Geelong.
Yeah.
And then Thursday was a bit of a change. Construction sites in Hyde and Ocean Grove and then across metropolitan Melbourne.
So it's great that the employers, the businesses see the need for this, see the opportunity and happy to engage you to help out, because the guys themselves are probably not going to put their hands up, are they?
Not in the first instance, and that's where my niche is. I get out and I talk about it, and what Mary spoke about, where women face to face talking, guys shoulder to shoulder. I'll be shoulder to shoulder on a construction site. And so it's easy. They don't have to take a day off, and it's a bit random who I might come across. Most people are happy to talk. I get very few go away, mate. So that was I was a bit lucky with that, but it ran for 4 years, and Ryman got themselves in a bit of trouble. Their share price dropped from $15 a share to $2.50.
Oh, right.
So they've closed down their construction division at the moment, so I lost that gig.
Yeah.
But recently, I've kind of learnt that that's a good personal contact. And I don't have personal contacts with directors of every construction company. So my niche now is going via the health and safety representatives because I'm complementary to what they're doing.
Yes.
And one of the guys who I come across at a construction company in Geelong, I'd done a toolbox talk at their organisation, and one of the last things I mentioned in my presentation was that if you're not sleeping properly at night, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
And this guy, he said, shit, I haven't been sleeping well for years. So he was sharing this story the following year when I went back to just do a refresher in the company. And he said, well, before Tony speaks, could I just share what I've done since he was here last year? So he took on that tip that if you're not sleeping properly, you better go have a chat to the doctor. And it opened up a Pandora's box. He'd been molested as a kid.
Yeah.
And he was in the SES down at Winchelsea.
Yeah.
And where they had the incident where the dad drowned the 3 kids in the dam.
Oh, yes, drove into the dam.
He was involved in the recovery.
Oh,
he knew the family.
Oh, shit.
And he'd been involved with other recoveries. So childhood trauma, PTSD from being an SES volunteer. But again, he's shared with his workmates, truck drivers, grader drivers, all that kind of stuff. I tried one bit of medication, that didn't seem to work all that well, so I tried a different one. That seemed to work better.
Yeah.
Counselling, I didn't like the first person, but I really clicked with the second one. So it's a great case study of the benefits of opening up and getting help.
And
getting the right help and persevering.
So we keep in touch.
Great.
I spoke to him half an hour ago.
Right.
Just checking in.
Yeah, great.
Because answer Brian's question, how do you get on the jobs? He referred me into the job that I'm on with John Holland.
Yeah.
Part of the big build at the Melton train station upgrade.
Right.
And so he, we just keep in touch.
Yeah.
And so word of mouth, because I'm not looking for a whole lot of work on a whole lot of sites. I'm just looking for a few jobs to keep me off the streets. So, so that's how I kind of get in. Just
word of mouth.
Word of mouth, my network. But I'm off to Europe hopefully in June to do a river cruise with my lovely wife, flying to Prague, 3 days there, down to Budapest, jump on a boat, end up in Amsterdam.
Beautiful.
Oh, fantastic.
You won't come home from there if you haven't
One of the
been.
great cities of the world.
I've got a whole lot of relatives there. My dear old mum is Dutch.
Really? What's the family name?
Verstegen.
Oh, Verstegen. Oh, fantastic.
From Utrecht.
Yeah, wow.
So,
wow, that's going to be a great trip. Amsterdam is one of the coolest cities in the world. Have you ever been?
Yeah.
Don't you think it's a lovely city?
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
After working 12 months in Edinburgh, I backpacked around Europe with my girlfriend at the time, wife-to-be.
Yeah.
And we stayed with some cousins, second cousins or whatever they were, some kind of relatives there.
We had friends when we went, we did the same river cruise from Basel in Switzerland down, ended at Amsterdam. We had friends who'd gone back to Rotterdam to live.
Shouldn't it be up, not down?
Yeah, up, sorry. Well, it's downstream.
Oh, okay.
It is up, but it's downstream, isn't it? We're on the boat going downstream. Friends of ours had gone back to Amsterdam, to Rotterdam to live, came and picked us up, took us out to Rotterdam, Kinderdijk, just spent the day going around Huda trees and stuff. Great. They're very friendly. The Dutch, Amsterdam themselves is such a super cool city in those. Well, what do we call them? They call them coffee shops, don't they? But they're bars, They have great little spaces.
Yeah.
Terrific. And a lot of young backpackers there. It's got a lovely
not a lot
vibe
of
to
cars.
it. No, not a lot of cars.
Especially
Biking around
the canals.
Yeah, a lot of people just walking around in boats.
Push bikes.
It's like a real living, breathing Venice. It's like an actual real city that's got boats on it, not just a tourist city. Beautiful city. Oh, well, you're going back. That'll be great.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. So I'm trying not to get too many irons in the fire before then.
Yep.
Kind of wait until I get back, and then I'll have an open diary, start booking in other construction.
When are you going, Tony? When's your trip?
June.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so as long as our friends in Iran don't start throwing the big bombs or rockets over, we'll be right. You'd like to think that whole European thing is going to wind back a bit, but it's challenging.
It is where it goes next.
It is, and it's so hard to know because who knows. I've got another. Now you've raised the mother's side of your family. I said to Scott, we played cricket together in Bendigo. That's where we met. We played against the fearsome McManuses from out at Axe Creek. Do you have any family around Bendigo?
Castlemaine.
Okay.
My child comes from. There's a little place called Barker's Creek.
Oh yeah, Barker's Creek. Yeah, Barker's Creek.
If you drive along that road from Castlemaine to Harcourt.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. On the other side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Castlemaine to Harcourt, and your left there's a McManus Lane.
Ah, righto.
Yeah.
So Grandad had three siblings, two brothers and one sister living on McManus Lane.
Okay. Well, there's quite a mob of them. They were dairy farmers. There wouldn't be many dairy farmers around in that country now. I don't think Tony be retired now. Just east of Bendigo, not far. So it's a similar sort of area. But I guess McManus it's not an unusual name, is it? It's not a rare
Bridge
name.
Hotel, Castlemaine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Granddad,
the Bridge, great pub.
Granddad had that.
Oh really?
He sold the bloody thing when I was 14. It wasn't dark when I was in 18. And I think had beers on Granddad.
Yeah, it's a lovely pub actually, the Bridge. Yeah, cool.
Fantastic.
So what else is what's next? What's coming up other than the trip? Outside of that, any other sort of projects or?
Just kind of still adjusting to that part-time work as opposed to I was working 4 days a week, and now bit here, bit there. Catching up with a lot of stuff around the house that you normally couldn't be bothered, so that's up and running and neat and tidy, and I mentioned the grandkids are starting to land, so and they have a bit of flexibility of when we visit them.
Yep.
My lovely wife Kath, she works 4 days a week. She was 5, but she kind of pushed the 5 into 4 days. It's like 4 long days, so that gives her a 3-day weekend, and so have plenty of time to just get out and about.
Yeah.
So
you're living in Lara still? Or?
No, I'm back at Marsh nowadays.
Well, that's Hine country. That's where my mob are from originally, and my family, Rosalie. They're all farmers in the Rosalie Valley, just this side of Bacchus Marsh. Been there forever.
Lovely valley, actually.
It's a pretty little spot.
One of the other volunteering things I did was this thing called L to P. So learn as a probationary driver, where you help kids who parents don't drive or don't have a car to chalk up their 100 hours so that they can get their P plates.
Yeah.
And Rosalie?
Rosalie. They call it it's spelt sort of Rousley.
Yeah.
If we were English, you'd probably say Rousley, but Rosalie it's
between
pronounced.
The two of us, we've got both versions there. and that lovely drive.
Yeah, it's right up to the bluff at the end. It's a beautiful little valley.
Wind turbines at the top end nowadays, so that takes away the view a bit.
Yeah, okay.
But I've got fond memories of doing that road a few times with the young kid I was doing the learner driving with. And that same template I showed you, all those things, I'll give him a copy of it. And if you're spending 100 hours in a car with a kid, it's a good opportunity to talk.
So, absolutely.
You might call it mentoring. It's very informal.
Yeah.
And, I see there's a lot that we can do out there one-on-one helping kids, because a lot of single-parent families out there nowadays.
Yeah.
I think because I was going to say had the pleasure of going from 2 doors to 4 doors. I like the idea of helping a young lad. And I think it even come up in Mary's chat with you guys recently about lack of father figures.
Yes.
And it's just different to a mum only bringing up a boy.
Yeah.
So
it's a good topic actually. I'm glad you raised it because it is an important one. You mentioned Mary delved into it, but we've also had other guests that talked about it. I remember Mark Drill from Fire Tonic. He talked about it, and and the importance of if there isn't a male role model in the direct family, how footy clubs or cricket clubs or those other sort of organisations can provide that. I agree 100%. If you don't have a good male role model that can, it's difficult for these kids to find direction, and I'm not taking away from single mums in any way, shape or form, or even 2-mum families or whatever, but I still think there's that really important role for a a good, strong male character who can provide not only some inspiration as far as whether it be work ethic or whatever, but also moral guidance as well.
Yeah.
As far as saying, well, you know, how did Mary put it? Like kids boys like to do dumb shit.
Yeah, that's right.
And you've got to let them to do dumb shit.
Yeah,
and maybe
right.
do a bit of dumb shit with them. But
There's
got to be a point where you've got to pull them up and go, no, that's too much dumb shit.
And if there's not a dad there or a male role model, it doesn't have to be dad, it could be the favourite uncle. It's what's missing out there. There's got, it's hard to analyse crime, youth, machetes, all that in the mix. But I think if you unpacked it, there's certain demographics that are, well, it used to be just certain demographics, but it seems to be across the board now.
Yeah, see, one of the things I think about role models, I had one of 7 children, 4 sisters, 2 brothers to make up the 7. Wonderful parents, mum and dad, great dad, like terrific family. But the importance of other male role models in my life, my older brother, and then the men that I played cricket with and the men that were around my footy club in the tiny little town of Kennett out in Western Victoria in a small community of 120 people or something. But those men that I would go and play cricket with, I looked up to. They were great sportsmen, but they were great people as well. And it's really important not just to have that in your immediate family. I mean, if you don't have it in your immediate family, that's even more difficult. But for many boys, they'll have that in their immediate family. But it's important to have it away from your family. Have good role models out at your, even if you're not sporting, wherever it is you go, where you socialise, what you're doing.
Yeah, in those teenage years too, because you tend not to listen to your parents.
No, you don't want to.
Just pick up that point, Scott. Kids roll their eyes what their parents say.
Yes.
Employees roll their eyes about what the employer says.
What the boss says.
Students are the same about teachers.
Exactly.
But you get this third party that you're describing. They hear the same thing. Because it's not from the employer, the parent, or the what's that? Employer, parent,
teacher. In terms of students.
Oh yeah, that's fine. It's because it's different.
Because they're all authority figures, aren't they? You know what I mean? Whereas if you've got someone that treats you more like a
peer almost.
You're older, you're more experienced. You're not treating them like a subordinate. So how do we? I mean, obviously we mentioned sporting clubs, but what if the kid's not sporty? Where do we find
very
those
good point
in the community?
What I say, part of my thing about social connection, or not so much social connection. What we've got to unpack is this thing about self. So when I do a corporate speech or a community speech, the topic is self first is not selfish. And I kind of pinched that from Jeff Kennett, where he said it's okay to be selfish and get your own shit together. Tick all these boxes that are on that template that have you give you a copy of that hang off your notes or whatever. But it's this self thing, and people say, what am I going to do? The kid that's not involved in the sporting club, where you come from? Well, one little solution is tell him to develop a bucket list. So just all the stuff you want to do, people you want to meet, places you want to go to, just develop that. And that gives you a bit of focus. And, sure, you're not Saturday afternoon playing cricket or footy, but you might be exploring, we touched on earlier, military history. You might have an interest in that. Maybe find some volunteering stuff, and if you've got these other things that you share with others, or you just make a list of, you might gravitate to others who have got the same interest. So it could be a garage band. I'll give you one example. There's a bunch of guys in Geelong who get together for coffee every Tuesday morning. Hello, Phil Butters, and he organises just a coffee get-together, but spun off to a garage band, a bike riding group. So they initially got together for the coffee thing, but there's probably about 25 blokes, but you might get 10 to 15 on any given day. The conversation, and you identify these other sources of amusement or stimulation or interest. And so, but how the hell you get that happening with the kids nowadays? Maybe it's music at schools. That's a common interest.
Bands. I mean, obviously, kids form bands, which is one good thing. But I mean, normally that's with their own same age group. So whether or not they're getting some more mature sort of mentoring or guidance, Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, there's an organisation here in Torquay, and they do great work. You know, they're about men's mental health and getting blokes off the couch, basically, and getting out there. But it's all sport related.
Yep.
It's the Active Men's Club.
Okay.
Active Men's Club, I think they call it. I assume they're still going, and so they started off basically as a little like basketball organisation for blokes over 40. Yeah. And then they branched into touch footy and stuff. Yeah. And you've got a lot of blokes who are very sporty, still very fit, have played high-level sport. And then you've got blokes like me who want to have a bit of a run around the basketball court. But I raised one time, like, you know, I've got other interests, not just sport. And I'm sure there's blokes out there like me who perhaps don't even want to play basketball. And I got to the point where I didn't want to keep playing basketball. It started getting a bit rough. I was getting a bit old for it. You know, I'm still competitive when I step on the court. But I can't really. And you've got blokes 20... 15 years younger than jumping all over you. So, like, you know, maybe a movie, you know, like movies, books. Yeah. I like, you know, maybe we can bloody find an old car and we can do it up, to find a mechanic thing and teach us how to do it up. You know, it's just
maybe you
like
could do a podcast.
A podcast. So, you know, so you're right about that as far as blokes our age. But then, how do we offer something for the kids that are 15? That's where they're most vulnerable, isn't it, really? Yeah. You know, when they hit that age when they become independent, they start thinking independently, they see the world, you know, they see adults as being, they see through a lot of the bullshit, you know, and they don't have the life experience, but they still start thinking that they are adults. They start, you know, they want to be an adult.
Yeah, well, I think... doing that banning of social media up until they're 16, that's a bit of a step in the right direction. Yeah. So stepping head buried in the phone, well, what am I going to do with my time? Yeah. And you know, anecdotally, some of the schools that have totally banned it, the kids are more engaged.
The problem with that, I think, is the kids who are smart enough, they'll find a way around it. But no, look, I agree. I think the social media has been a big issue, a big problem. But I think also boredom is as well, and lack of stimulation, lack of kind of creative stimulation. I think that when kids are left to their own devices to wander the streets, I remember what it was like. You know, you turn to alcohol, or you turn to, you know, violence or whatever. And kids are turned to crime. You talk about machetes. You know, this is what's happening out in those development areas, those great, you know, areas that are being developed, because there's nothing out there for them. You know, there's a shopping centre and a shitload of houses.
But even, you know, Brighton, Kew, there's no suburb safe from home invasions at the moment. If you've got a nice car, they'll pinch the nice car. I was just saying my wife earlier, I think we're safe with Hyundai and a little MG. Next thing you know on the news, a little MG's just been stolen in the bar. So the MG, not safe.
MG could be
our old Astra there in the driveway, that's pretty safe. You never know. But I don't know. I think it's boredom, but and I think it's lack of stimulation. But so I don't know what the answers are, but hopefully there's some. I'm sure there's organisations out there that offer that as well. Getting those kids at that earlier age. You know, you're obviously dealing with blokes. You know they're out on the work sites, but you know trying.
Well, there used to be PCYC, police youth clubs. They have gyms and that. I think they're dying a bit. There was one in St Kilda when I was living up there. And there's some light on the horizon where I've seen a few examples in the press recently of young kids who are going down the wrong path are being introduced to ex-crims. They've been in jail, and some of these kids, you're going where I've been. I don't think it's a good thing.
Have we talked about that on this podcast? Somebody was talking about that recently, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Kane?
Our most recent guest. She spoke? Mary spoke about that, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Kane, you mentioned Kane Nuttall.
Yeah.
I mean, what great work he's doing.
Of course.
He was one of the organisations my old charity funded to help get up and running. And Mark Lee.
Yeah.
I don't see how he does everything in his day.
I know.
Wasn't it amazing how many different things he's doing?
It's incredible.
Yeah. No, it is amazing people like yourself who are giving back to the community, who are so community-minded, and, I don't know, I'd hate to think where our society and community would be without those people.
Yeah, I'm a bit frustrated I can't spread out more. Like when I was living in Lara, I was pretty well the engine behind setting up the community bank. As a local estate agent, you get a lot of knocks on the door for a donation. And it's significant because if you've got a high-profile business in a small town, everyone hits you up. I thought there's got to be a better way. So I had a chat to Pat Manane, he was the regional manager of Bendigo Bank.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they got the ball rolling with getting Lara's Community Bank up and running. Had to do a feasibility study. It passed that. We had to raise about $900,000. And whilst I was running my real estate business, I got more interested in that project.
I
don't know if I got bored or over.
It's interesting.
When you're in real estate, when you get to selling the same house the third time, is that dunny still leaking? Is a back door squeaking or whatever? Yeah. Whereas I'm a bit more project driven now, so the community bank was a great example.
Well, what a great business model, Rob Hunt. The old CEO of the Bendigo Bank came up with the idea of the community bank. Then how wonderful they've been for what we're talking about, communities and putting money back into communities.
Well, I think the Lara one's put about $10 million back in the community.
Yeah, I was just going to say, my wife was involved in the development of that. My wife worked for the Bendigo Bank, and she worked in the development of community banks.
Yep.
I think she opened the Lara Bank with a fellow called Tracy Wilson. Do you remember Tracy?
Yeah, I think he's died.
He has. He had died tragically very young. Yeah, so Tracy would have been the guy you probably worked with.
Exactly, yeah. So he helped us through the feasibility study and the up and running.
Yeah.
And
lovely guy.
A great model.
Yeah,
and,
it's a terrific model, yeah. And it does bring some... It's another... I was just thinking when we were talking before about all these, how all the old orders broken down in the world. It's breaking down in the world. Yeah. The old orders that we grew up with breaking down, and we're seeing it at community level. So, like the church, for example, was when I was a child growing up, there were church communities. There was a Catholic church and an Anglican church. Where in my little tiny little village, 2 churches every Sunday. Yeah. Everybody went.
Whether or not you like the church, they were important parts of the community.
There were church picnics and so there were community. There was a church community as well as the pub and the footy and the cricket. Those sort of things are all those sort of old structures and community levels don't exist anymore.
Is that community banks model safe? Because they're closing quite a few of those. Is that safe?
I've got some interesting comments and observations there.
Yeah.
When we started the bank off, whoever subscribed initially, become local shareholders or initial shareholders, said, "What's the most important thing we need to do in our community?" And 70% said youth.
Youth.
So have a look at that.
Yeah.
So if you park that for now and look at what's going on there, I wonder how well youth are being serviced. And I think anecdotally it's a bit underdone.
And I think maybe it's like what Mary talks about, how blokes aren't being, like programs to help blokes' mental health, particularly regional rural blokes, are being written by either women or politicians who have never lived it outside of the city. They just don't understand these people. It's the same thing with kids, right? They're getting written by people who have no idea, don't even remember what it was like to be a teenager, and they don't speak to the people that they're meant to be helping. So
if you can't find projects involving the needs of youth, you're not doing your job properly because they're out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Or maybe you need to start one off.
You're not focusing. You're right. You're not focusing in the right area if you can't find something.
So I kind of noticed that. And, I think they're not always people who run those community banks may not have a really good understanding of the needs of the community. They're there for the governance and how it's all running, but they pretty well run themselves. So, so I was happy to get in, do that project, deputy chairman. I stayed about 12 months and I said, I'm out of here. Job's done. I want to do something else. So and that's kind of a good analogy of what I'm trying to do now.
That's your style.
A project here,
you'd like to get stuff going, kick it off.
Get it up and running.
Be an innovator, get it going, move on. That's the sort of person you are. I can see that. You don't want to sit back and then just manage it on forever. You want new ideas, get something new, innovation, get something started, and move on, and keep it going.
Start the next one,
which is really important. Really important. That work's critical.
I want to kind of go back to the start of our conversation.
Sure.
BeyondBlue Cup. Still going? I should know that because I'm a Hawthorn supporter.
No, and
so what happened there? Did Jeff pull the pin, or?
It's interesting you asked that because it was the reason why I resigned as a BeyondBlue ambassador.
Yeah.
You might recall your club, the Brown and Gold, had an issue a few years ago with alleged racism.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So I think you might find that was the reason why.
Really, they didn't want to associate. Really? Okay. Well, isn't that a
Beyond
shame?
Blue didn't want to know about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which kind of was annoying to me, being a founder of it.
So a bit of wokeism going on there, bit of cancel culture.
Oh, hello.
It's a bit tough using one potential area of concern to give another one a whack, unrelated, whether it's right or not. Doesn't seem to make sense, does it? So it's a bit unfair.
Whether or not, a club might have a problem in one area, but it's doing something great in another area, so take the great bit away.
Take that off them, because there might be something going on over there.
Yeah, so that, I think as you get a bit older, if you kind of engage with someone who's not on the same page as you, I think I'm out of here.
I can't be bothered anymore.
Pretty frustrating. So
that's fine.
The volunteer mental health stuff I now do is just, are you okay? And what I like about them, there's only about 26 staff there. They've got a great national profile. Beyond Blue's got 300 staff. And it just doesn't reconcile with my small business. Be efficient, be lean, bang for the buck.
I mean, you talked about that earlier, maybe even off air, but how you like supporting the little guy and how these organisations, without specifically saying any particular ones, but they become so big, they become such a machine that they, you've got so much of the resources goes into fueling the machine,
internal,
the bureaucracy, rather than actually helping the people that it's meant to help. You think about some of these big organisations that align themselves with the AFL or with Cricket Australia or in the media organisations, and I'm a bit cynical, but I think, geez, how much of this money is just getting greasing palms.
It's not coming out the other end.
Greasing palms.
Well, AFL recently, they had that, was it the Sydney game, where they didn't acknowledge the Jewish people who were...
Yes.
And that's just another example of that kind of, dare I say, wokeism. That I think the silent majority don't stand it, not interested. And I think Jess Wilson, the Liberal opposition leader, suggested that the AFL should stick to footy and not that kind of stuff.
Well, I think there's been commentary on that for corporates, and I put AFL in the corporate box for a long time.
They're a corporate. The AFL don't worry about that. They're one of
the big banks, the big organisations trying to make social commentary, and they probably should stick to what they're good at.
Stay in your lane.
Exactly.
Stay in your lane. Good advice.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Tony. Thanks for coming down and joining us all the way from Bacchus Marsh.
Pleasure.
Bit of a drive. I think hopefully you've ticked a few boxes while you're down here.
And my dear old mum, I should give her a shout out. She's in Epworth at the moment, struggling a bit. So
Epworth here in Geelong.
So I swung by on the way down.
Okay, good.
And I had a coffee date with a mate down here, but he got the, hey, Grandad, can you help out with the kids call? So I got stood up there. That's why I was a bit earlier.
You had to empathise with that, though, because we all get caught up with those.
So it's been a great chat, guys. So keep up the good work. And
to you, and thank you for the work you do for the community and for us blokes and all of that. So, good luck and enjoy the European trip.
Yes, enjoy Amsterdam,
well deserved.
Fantastic.
Good on you. Thanks, Tony.
Cheers.
Bye.
That I wouldn't settle down if I could. But when that open road starts to call in me, there's something over the hill that I got. Sometimes